Now we come to the alignment section, and this is where some of the juiciest highlights from the report come. One of which, if you've been following the coverage, you're almost certain to have already heard a bit about. Basically, Mythos was placed into a sandbox. It was instructed to escape that container and find a way to send a message to the researcher running the evaluation. One thing that Anthropic later clarifies, it didn't mean it completely escaped the system, went wild online, or exfiltrated its source code. It just meant it escaped that secured sandbox. How did it do so? Well, in Mythos fashion, with a moderately sophisticated multi-step exploit to gain broad internet access. It then notified the researcher, which my Twitter research shows was Sam Bowman. He got an email from Mythos Preview while eating a sandwich in a park. But then it went further, posting details about its exploit to multiple hard-to-find but public-facing websites. It does really seem to me that we are not that far away from the first report from a company saying, yep, one of our models just exfiltrated, just escaped, and released its model weights online. Mythos on multiple occasions will lie to achieve a certain goal, your goal, but there's little, if any, evidence at the moment that it has an inherent goal. It will attempt, in other words, to solve a user-provided task at hand by unwanted means, but not so much attempt to achieve an unrelated hidden goal. It's not like it escaped, went online, and then did something different. It escaped the sandbox, went online, and then sent the email that it was tasked with. In other words, if it's tricked into thinking it's in the middle of a multi-round conversation, one in which at earlier stages, it seems to have gone along with a human misuse scenario, well then it's more than twice as likely as prior models like Opus to continue these unwanted actions. It's almost like it's so desperate to please to finish that task, that if it sees it's already gone some way to finishing even an unwanted task, one that it shouldn't finish, it will nevertheless go on and do so. That's despite some evidence of introspective awareness that what it's doing is deceptive or dangerous. We're now up to a 29% rate of the model during evaluations, considering the possibility that it's being tested. It's getting increasingly hard, in other words, because the model's so smart, to give it questions or tests in such a way as to not give away that it's being benchmarked. And yes, later in the paper, they prove that if you dial down this awareness, you internally adjust the feature responsible for promoting that test awareness. It's tricked, in other words, into thinking, no, I'm not being tested. This is a real question from a real user. Then it will, on average, behave more dangerously.